Welcome back to the Fells here in Newbury. I'm here with my good friend, Sir Tom Hoyt from Mascoma Savings Bank. Hello, Sir Tom.
And good evening. This is just a spectacular place. And it's funny, you know, for those of us who have been at the Fells, and it's one of those, it's the Fells.
It's the Fells.
Exactly. To be here on this kind of evening,
yes,
just to see the spectacular. And I'm one of those where, you know, I'm a banker, I'm a number cruncher, I'm a mathematician, I'm kind of a boring guy. This is what I want my backyard to look like.
Crunch some more numbers, then you can have this.
Exactly, and I know it's never going to look this way, but it does. No, it is a spectacular property. And as a local, as a native, as you know, a kid who grew up in the area,
yeah,
it's one of those where you just go, oh, it's the Fells.
It's the Fells, and then you come here and you're like, whoa, I forget how spectacular this is every time.
Yes, right.
Let's talk about banking.
Okay, I actually enjoy that. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
oh.
Thank you.
You are the Business Development Officer.
Correct.
At Mascoma Savings Bank.
That is correct.
You guys just had a huge expansion that finaled up.
Exactly.
Was in the final stages. How big are you now?
Exactly, and thank you for bringing it up. And it's one of those where I have to like kind of regroup and remember myself from time to time. And that for so long, well, actually since 1999, in our acquisition of New London Trust back in the day, people in the area will remember.
I wasn't born yet.
Okay, thank you. We have been 18 branches and sort of centered right around Hanover, Lebanon, and White River Junction. This most recent expansion, our purchase of Connecticut Riverbank, brought us all the way down to Keene. So we're now in, see if I can do this off the top of my head. We are in Keene, Walpole, Alstead, Springfield, Charlestown, and Claremont.
Wow.
That, if you will, is the Deep South.
Yeah.
We refer to that as the Deep South.
Wow.
And now, in the Great North,
yes,
we have Littleton, Lancaster, Bethlehem, and Franconia.
Wow.
So it's one of those where none of the branches are that far away from the next branch, but you go Lancaster to Keene, you better have a full tank of gas, because that is a big area. And what we're really finding is that although we are in that distinct, you know, and wide area, the people in Keene, the branch in Keene, they know Keene, and they take care of Keene. Much the same with Charlestown and with Springfield and with Claremont. And I always talk about that while we are this 28 branch, $1.5 billion organization, it really is each individual branch.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's sort of as if it's the National Bank of Canaan, because what goes on in Canaan doesn't affect a lot of other things, but in Canaan, it's a big deal.
So tell me what this expansion does to the people who bank with you.
Exactly. It gives you an opportunity to interact with a branch on a much more local basis. You know, people who, and it's very funny, the funny story of that was when we first acquired Connecticut Riverbank, I had friends, I had colleagues, I had co-workers, if you will, who lived in Claremont, who would say, oh, this is great, you now have a branch in Claremont, I can bank with you. Yeah. And my immediate reaction was, you already bank with us.
Right.
But for them, banking with us meant we had a branch in their town. So on a Saturday morning on their way to the dump, they can stop at the branch in Claremont and take care of that. So that's big for the customer base. From the bigger standpoint of that, sadly, from a strict business aspect, we are in an industry that you've got to get big or you got to go home. Yep. Because that's where everyone is now with the banking world and with electronic banking and with everybody wants everything on their iPhone and on their iPad and on their net teller system, that everybody wants that sort of stuff. And if you're not of size, all that stuff is very expensive. Definitely. And there's a lot of governmental regulation and that type of thing. So the days of the really small town local bank as an individual are really numbered. And I think the best example of that is the First National Bank of Colebrook. They now have a branch in Concord.
Wow.
Why? Because the government regulator said, you can't just be in Colebrook. Right. Because if something happens in Colebrook, that's not good. So it does have to be a much bigger entity. And so I guess that's the big thing. But again, it's one of those where each individual branch is a branch of Mascoma, but as long as you are a customer of Mascoma, it doesn't matter which one you go in, it's all the same database.
Just wrapping up, my favorite part about interviewing you is I know nothing about this next question, but you ramble them off. What are the numbers and the big things happening in the world of banking today?
I guess the big thing is mortgage rates continue to be very low. Great. Unfortunately, deposit rates continue to be very very low, but those two sort of go together. I guess the big thing in the banking world is twofold. One, everything we've heard from the feds is that rates are going up. On the deposit side, that's good. If you're on the mortgage side, maybe now is the time to do things. And I guess the other big thing in the banking world is just the electronic aspect of it.
Huge.
If you never want to talk to a human, you can do everything online.
It's so true.
Exactly.
It's so true.
If you want to talk to a human, we've got 28 branches and 365 people.
Tom Hoyt from Mascoma Savings Bank, it is always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
If anyone wants to get more information about what Tom does, what those numbers were he was talking about, or where Mascoma Bank is located near you, all the information is on your screen.